Good evening, everyone. This is the Candid Show you're listening to. This podcast is being hosted by myself, Krishna, and Shiram. So, I hope everyone listening to this show are safe by taking necessary precautions to stay away from the virus. In this show, we are going to express our unbiased opinions and views about the pandemic which is haunting the world. So, now let me ask our co host Shiram to give a general rundown about the lives the COVID 19 has claimed so far.
So, to give a brief rundown on the statistics, we have about 27.9 million cases worldwide with about 904,000 deaths. And with respect to India, we have around 4.47 million cases with about 75,000 deaths. And on an average, every single day, we get about 35,000 cases, which is extremely large considering we are already 5 to 6 months into this pandemic, and still we get such huge rise of cases every single day. So, I advise the listeners of this podcast to stay quarantined, and stay safe to combat COVID.
Yeah. Shiram, could you give us a small update about the economical status of our country?
So, to talk about all of these views must have shocked every single one of us. Is that the start of the September we heard a report such that the GDP has fallen to about 23.9% over the first fiscal quarter, and this was just a extremely bad news to every single one of us because the COVID has already tortured us to a state we were completely hopeless, and this GDP news was just adding fuel on top of fire. So this is mainly caused because of the reasons that most of the produce didn't reach to the very mandis, or what do you call them, like wholesale markets.
Yeah.
So their sales have been definitely dropped in those wholesale regions, and the horticulture, floriculture, vegetable poultry, and some of these very essential commodities were also severely hit. And some of these production of essential quantities such as these fast moving consumer goods, FMCG, also faced a big decline. And the unorganized sector, which contributes to about 94% of the employment, and basically agriculture, which is one of the most largest contributors to GDP, definitely was the biggest one to be hit. And another important thing is that India has been actually the worst performing economy among all the top nations, G20 nations, from the April to June quarter. So this is the general rundown about the GDP of our country. And
Yeah.
also, Krishna, to highlight one more thing, I talked about the unorganized sector. So could you tell us a little
Yes.
bit more about the impact which it had on the unorganized sector of the economy?
Yeah. Speaking of which, due to the decrease in the GDP, the contribution of the daily wage workers, or otherwise called as the unorganized sector, has reduced to about 70 to 80 percentage. So their livelihood has been mainly affected as they depend only upon the wage they get daily by doing their job. So they feel it very difficult to run their family,
Yeah.
and they have a very uh, big problem in financially. So I hope their status gets better in the near future.
Definitely, Krishna. That is what I also hope as well, because your daily wage, that is your daily expenses or daily expenditure, is not even being met properly. So I hope the
Yes.
situation returns to normalcy, at least for their sake.
Yeah. For the daily wage workers, we can the examples are small time shopkeepers or vegetable vendors, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Shriram, to speak about the effects of COVID 19, the most affected is the students of schools and colleges. So, speaking of which, the schools and colleges, the both the students and teachers are facing a really hard time where they have to spend their most time in front of the system for about 6 to 7 hours a day. uh, I don't also think this system of education, online education, is as efficient as real time learning. So uh, the educational institutes should also think about those family who can't afford a proper device or a proper network plan.
Yeah.
So the basic plan nowadays, the most of the student would have about 1.5 GB per day, which would get exhausted within a 2 hour session of online class. So
Yeah, yeah.
even in other ways, the in subjects like max, the students can't exactly clear their doubts with the concerned teacher. So the teacher student bond is been affected during this online type of educational system.
Yeah, definitely, Krishna. As you told most of the points as well, I would like to say the same thing about the teacher-student interaction, because I feel that is one of the most important things for any student to gain knowledge in a subject or even have interest to read the subject. But since
Yes.
the interaction is completely severed in this case, so the student has no interest or no motivation or no purpose to actually read or do something. So at the end of the day, these online classes are just nothing but a waste of time, if I'm being extremely frank with you. And
Yes.
the student just sits idly during these classes and is not able to understand anything. So that is one of the issues. And also I would talk about the fee structure about these schools and colleges, because that is a thing which is definitely concerning to me and concerning to a lot of parents as well, because
Mm.
some of these colleges and institutions are demanding such high amounts of fees for a course which is completely online as well, with not any kind of practicals or any other facilities which you get with it. And according to me, this is just completely bonkers, because why do you have to pay the same fees for an online course when you go to
Yeah.
college and do, when you're totally missing out on features, facilities such as like that. So I feel the fee
Yeah,
system
it
these
is
colleges,
completely unfair.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And the fee structure, and they ask you to pay the fees in like a stipulated time, and they give you
Yeah, in a
such very
single
short amount of time.
installment, the parents are forced to pay the fees. So many families face a financial problem in educational
Yeah.
point of view. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that is a very big issue, and I hope
Yeah.
the things return to normalcy, at least for these, at least for the many of the students who are suffering or who are unable to pay fees. Because once they actually come to college, they might actually learn something. Because at the end of the day, most of these online classes, I think they are just basically a time pass only, to be honest.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the education part, uh, do you think the recent government's decision to allow the final year students to write the examination and to conduct the competitive examinations like JEE and NEET, what do you think? Do you think is it fair to conduct examination during this pandemic situation?
Well, I think definitely the final year exams definitely are not the need of the hour, to be honest with you, because definitely, even though I can
Yeah,
feel they have.
but still, their career and their future depends upon their final year exam marks, right?
But definitely, but you have to think about the health issue, which is definitely comes at priority, because you need to be healthy to
Yeah.
be actually write exams. And because health is probably the primary concern which you have to think about before doing any kind of an exam or conducting it. I think and ideally you could postpone it to about 2 or 3 months after right now, because I think the situation would be stabilized. And also, even if you're planning to keep the exams within this week or like immediately, you should have to impose all of the safety precautions, all of the necessary things which you like prerequisites before conducting an exam amidst the chaos and confusion right now. So I feel the final year exams definitely are not the need of the hour. And I would think someone would definitely argue against me, but I would say to them, health is the number one priority in any case or scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, the exams of the final year students and the competitive examinations can be conducted in a proper manner where the students are given proper instructions and taken necessary precautions to stay away from the virus. So,
Yeah,
to yeah, like using sanitizers and maintaining social distance, I think the government can extend the examination centers and allotting a limited amount of students to a particular class. So this
exactly. Yeah,
this
yeah.
is one of the uh, possible way to conduct an exam, but not too early like this. But a month or two can be postponed. So yeah.
Definitely, yeah. These if these steps are taken and most of these rules or precautions are taken strictly, definitely exams can be kept. Then there is no issue in having exams, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for speaking about the educational part, do you think the more than the final year examinations, the JEE and need the such as the competitive examinations, uh, is it necessary right now?
I don't think as of right now you do need it, but even though we had JEE NEET exams at the early September, at the first week of September, and they somehow successfully did it and didn't manage to spike any cases, and which
Yeah.
is extremely surprising considering the current condition, because it is very difficult to actually keep control the number of cases every single day. So in
Mm.
that case, I feel definitely the NTA did a good job on controlling the amount of cases increasing on that particular 4 days. But yeah, so in that case, if even the NEET is going to come up soon, if they do also follow the same kind of pattern, same kind of precautionary measures, then definitely I think the exams can be kept. But if you have to talk about whether it is absolutely necessary, I don't think so, because that is definitely not the need they have. We have more pressing issues
Yeah,
at hand.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the speaking of the effects, next problem the society faces is the mostly the hotel owners and the food transportation, food delivery systems like Swiggy and Zomato facing a really bad time during this pandemic. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about the hit of the COVID-19 on such sectors like hotels and delivery systems?
Yeah, definitely, because during this 5 to 6 month period of the lockdown, the hotel business definitely have been running on big losses. I feel, and including all the allied business business
Mm.
companies as well, such as these food servicing outlets like Swiggy, Zomato, etc., etc. So I don't think people are and these 5 to 6 months have been brutal on them because they didn't have any kind of man force or manpower to even run at their full operation, let alone do 5% of their complete operations. And I feel even though they did have the manpower, I think nobody would order online, considering during the initial periods of the lockdown people were completely scared and they didn't want to take any kind of risk ordering outside. Or even though, even I know it wasn't even possible, but even if they had the chance to, no one would have actually done it. So in terms of the impact on the hotel industries and allied services,
Mm.
definitely this lockdown was the number one reason for most of their losses, I feel. Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of which, the food part, the people. Would you think the people prefer their food to take to? Would you think the people would prefer taking food from outside services like Zomato and Swiggy rather than making their own food in such a pandemic situation due to the fear of spread of virus? Do you think so?
Definitely, there's going to be this few small groups of population, at least 5 to 10% of the population, who's definitely going to order online because it's just been a really long time since they actually had good food or tasty food or any kind of fast food or junk food that like pizza, burger, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
definitely, there's it's going to be the teen population majorly focused on going to restaurants or basically ordering in, I guess. But the remaining 80% or 85% of the population, including the middle aged and the older age of people, are definitely not going to order anything, and they're just going to try to keep every kind of safety measure possible to avoid having food from outside. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the now speaking about the effect of COVID-19 in the business area, the main business which is facing a very bad time during this pandemic situation is, I think, the tourism business. So, what do you think about the uh, hit on the tourism business and the effect it has?
Yeah, the tourism might have been the industry which was completely toppled over. Even the hotel industry could actually survive, I think, but the tourism industries are completely shut down during those
Yeah,
initial
no
five
one
to
would
six
prefer
months.
to go out of their house in such a pandemic situation,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And there wasn't any need to as well, I guess, because there wasn't any. They obviously lockdown was declared, so you don't even need to go hospital. You don't need to go to your offices, schools, colleges, anything.
Yeah.
So basically, definitely all the allied services like these hotels, tourism, I think all of them are intertwined in this, and definitely the losses are all shared by all of these allied services, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, speaking about the governmental decisions, the recently the government of Tamil Nadu has the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Edapadi Palanisamy, has said that the cancellation of arrear exams, they cancelled the arrear exams of students who had a backlog in the previous semesters, except the final year students.
Yeah.
And immediately after a week, the AICT backfired the government's decision and withdrew it, and they denied such a decision taken by the government. So, what is your stand on such a thing, Shiram?
Yeah, definitely the AICT has done a bold move and definitely a good move in terms, in my opinion, because we definitely needed to, what do you say, the negate such an impulsive decision made by the government, because definitely, as most of us would relate to this fact that negating all of the arrears just in one single go could
Yeah.
definitely devalue or definitely, what do you say, take the whole value of the college education outside, because
Yeah, and I don't also think that the government, while making such a decision, thought about the past year students or non-area students
yeah, definitely.
who have done their exams better than the area students. I'm not attacking anyone, but uh, yeah,
Yeah, this was definitely a decision taken by impulse, I personally feel, because they totally came out of nowhere. No one even expected something like this, and no one even expected to, like, no one had an idea, faintest clue that this would happen, because that is what caught the thing by surprise, I guess, because it was totally a stupid move apparently, without any kind of strategic thinking. And I'm happy that AICT actually reversed the idea just
yeah.
within a week's time, and not took like a month or so, because to reverse such a action made by the government could have actually taken a longer time. But AICT was quick on their feet and definitely reversed the decision in a relatively short amount of time.
And why don't you think that the AICTE didn't can withdrew or backfire the government's decision within the day of the announcement, right? Why did they take a week so long? So
Yeah, but I feel such a AICT is a big renowned body in India with all of these learned professors and scholars. So I think they would have got down together for a meeting. They must have discussed through all of the implications or results of such a decision, if it was imposed as well. So they must have thought of all the
yes,
consequences or all the impact which it must have had. So in that case, 1 week's, I think, relatively a less amount of time, because if they would have taken like a month or so, definitely
yeah,
we had every right to be angry at them. But I think a week's time is definitely faster. But I think
yeah.
the decision was much more harsh, I feel. They could have done
Yeah,
something
the
different.
students felt very disappointed in the AICTE's decision to backfire the government's decision. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely, that is why the government should have been more alert, or more steady, more controlled in their responses or in their
yeah.
policies, or such the making such rash decisions. So definitely the government should pay heed to such stuff, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, earlier we spoke about the conduction of exams for the final year students and the competitive students. So, why don't you think the government didn't conduct exam for the other semester students except the final year students? Isn't that also important, and wouldn't that aggregate the marks for their final year and contribute
Yeah.
a main part to their career?
Yeah, but definitely I think the in semesters have much more higher priority compared to these intermediate semesters. I feel, even though the aggregate still does add up to your final CGPA, I still do think the intermediate semesters have much less of weightage or burden on their shoulders than these end semester students, because end semesters have a lot on their plate right now, and they do need to have these exams. They do need to finish up these exams and go to. They have much more commitments at hand than us, because we basically don't have actually any much of a commitment right now,
Yeah.
as of just to write the exams, right? So definitely the importance of the end semesters is much more higher compared to the intermediate semesters, I feel.
And now the intermediate semester students have been conducted the internal examination by online method. So,
Yeah.
don't you think the students would undergo malpractice during such online examinations?
Well, I feel cheating has become like an integral part of life, I feel, because you find cheaters in every single place, you like the place you till the time you die to the date you're born. You find cheaters in
Hmm.
every single place in society these days, because the world has become so competitive and fast paced that some of these people aren't able to cope up with the amount of changes that is happening happening every single day. So I feel there's
Yeah.
some of these group of people, like the small set of people, like always try to find a shortcut, or so what do you say, a hack to get through the system, to pack
Yeah.
through the system easily. So in that case, definitely the cheaters are going to cheat any way possible. But definitely this online system of education and test conduction has they definitely made the thing for easier for them to actually cheat. So yeah,
Yeah.
I feel cheaters are just common part of everyday life. We just should ignore them, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah. And now, speaking about the examinations, uh, what could be done by the government? Do you think the postpone of the examinations could be right, or what could you do if you were given the right to give such a decision?
Yeah, definitely. I would have gone with the postponement of exams, but the duration, I'm not sure how long would I would have postponed it. Maybe like about
Yeah,
2 or 3 months ahead, because I think that would be a valid or fair time. Like considering that is also assuming that the cases definitely reduce, because if the cases still keep rising even after 2 to 3 months, then definitely I have to look for some alternative kind of method to conduct the examinations, or definitely do something like NTA did to impose very heavy, strict measures
yeah,
and stuff like that. But we all know the government definitely is not going to pay that much money, or definitely doesn't have the patience to go through all of the safety precautions and measures taken. So in that case,
yeah,
definitely I would postpone, but I'm definitely not sure about when to do the exams though. What do you
yeah.
think? What you'll do?
Yeah, the same way I would have done that by postponing the examinations by a month or two till this spread of virus gets relieved.
Yeah, and Krishna, I wanted to ask you this one question.
Yeah,
We all know the political parties started campaigning recently, because we would have heard of it in the news
yeah.
that they
Many
have
state
been.
parties have started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you think that is a wise move amidst this chaos?
No, that is not the most important or the most needy thing of this time. So
Yeah.
because of this pandemic, many people are facing various types of problems and are facing a real problem in financially, and the political parties could help the people financially, or give supply food for them, like social services. They could do that those kind of things
Yeah.
instead of doing campaigns, as no people would give importance to them, as they are their lives are at stake. So I don't think it is so important at this time
But
right now.
don't you think the political parties and such governmental actions do not actually contribute to the democratic country we live in? Because I feel some of the people would argue stating this is a democratic country, and political parties and the demonstrations or the campaigning which they do is actually which forms the campaigning of the democracy of our country. So what would you say to people like them who argue that these actually contribute to the democracy of the country?
See, first of all of the human life is at a stake, and we need to overcome this pandemic situation, where a new type of virus, that is the Chinese virus, has been spread all over the world, and the world is in such a critical status right now. So our utmost importance should be the uh, care we take on our health and the
Yeah.
society. So amidst this, these all are, I feel it is not important right now at this time.
Definitely, yeah, I do feel with you. Yeah, I have the same opinion on that, I guess. Because definitely,
Yeah,
I don't think you need to have any kind of big campaigning activity going on as of now, because I think the people are not even going to be focused on voting at least for
yeah,
a couple of months from now till the situation subsides. So, yeah, that be my opinion as well, yeah.
yeah. Now coming to the social media part, the meme pages, like the trawlers or the meme pages, whatever, they are posting constantly the memes trolling the governmental decisions taken by the particular government. So do you think this would end up attacking the particular government, or what?
But definitely, they don't have any kind of an internal agenda with them or any hidden agenda. Some of these meme pages are just there to just make you laugh, happy, because we do need that kind of an enjoyment or happiness or a relief from the confusion going on around us. So I feel all of the meme pages, every single person, I think not even all the 100% of the meme pages are definitely having just one intention, just to make people happy. But if people
Yeah, to
definitely do,
entertain them.
yeah,
Yeah,
if people do misinterpret the situation and consider it a hostile or an attack on someone, I definitely think their perception is way out of line and just stupid on downright stupidity. Because
yeah,
why do they need to even do that? Because they already know the situation is worse. Why make it even worse? So in that case, I feel definitely the meme pages and all of these social media troll pages are
yes,
definitely making people much more happier and taking their mind out of this pandemic. Yeah.
yeah. Now, after each and every negative negative point that is happening around us, the all the people in social media, not only social media, also in real life, they blame the year 2020 for such mishaps. So do you think this blame is right? Yeah.
Definitely, I would say people are definitely fair right on this one, because 2020 has been one of the most worst years, at least considering the past 5 years, because we didn't have nothing very big, like something like this big magnitude of this size didn't actually hit us. Because first of all, the COVID was the first one which kind of made us into, like, what do you say, start hating the year, I guess. And we all hoped it
Yeah.
would go away faster, but no, it just kept on for about 6 to 7 months and kept on increasing. And then we heard about the death of certain celebrities, Hollywood celebrities, sports celebrities like Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
And we heard,
especially in our country, Sushant Singh Rajput, who
definitely, yeah, that was one of the very big
whose
losses this year. Yeah,
demise was a very heartbreaking moment for all of us, and I am so happy that at least the CBI is undergoing the investigation about Sushant's case. So I hope Sushant's case gets perfect justice.
yeah, definitely, we do need to have some kind of an answer, even if we don't get an exact answer to it. But I feel definitely there has to be some kind of explanation to what actually happened, because till this day, there's actually a mystery actually what happened. But let's not dig too much into it, because we don't want to get too
Yeah,
much into the specifics. And also, we heard about Chadwick Boseman, like the actor of Black Panther in
yeah,
Marvel. He also had passed away, and the whole
that was
film community was
completely
mourning.
unexpected. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Beirut blast as well. Apparently,
Yeah,
it's
in
one of the most.
Lebanon, that was so, yeah, that was so horrific. Yeah,
Definitely, because it was the now biggest non-natural, non-nuclear man-made disaster. So yeah, that lot of bad things have
yeah,
happened
many people
continuously.
lost their lives in the accident. Yeah,
Yeah, undoubtedly, 2020 has been a pain on our ass. Definitely.
yeah. Now we have spoke much, but do you think now coming to the vaccine part, do you
Yeah.
think proper vaccine has been found? As many countries have been claiming that they have found a perfect vaccine for this overspreading disease. Do you think is it efficient or what?
Well, I personally feel there has been like fewer two more variations of vaccines. One with the Russian vaccine, which is definitely the one which is giving a people a lot of positive hope, and which is currently going through clinical trials and it's just not ending up
Yeah,
with any kind
the
of
Russian
problems.
president also recently gave the vaccine to his own daughter without proper levels of checking.
Yeah,
Do you
definitely.
think
Yeah.
it is right to do so?
Yeah, but definitely, undoubtedly, that was one of the most impulsive decisions made by Russians, because we already know Russians are definitely spontaneous, or definitely don't
Yeah,
think about any of their actions which they do. They tend to be they're just generally considered as crazy people, if I should call them. And Putin definitely
yeah,
has done more crazier things in the past, but this just tops the table, I guess. So, yeah, there is no surprise coming from this, but definitely he should have been more careful, I guess, and that was just totally impulsive on his part, yeah. That,
yeah.
and we also, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, in particularly in our country, coming to the vaccine part, most of the people, most of the yeah, like scientists, the owner of Patanjali, Baba Ramdev claimed several months before that he has found a perfect vaccine in a pure Ayurvedic way, and he is going to sell it in a very cheap and affordable price. So now and then he came and told that it is not efficient or it is not a perfect cure for this
Yeah.
disease.
This was actually anticipated, and many of us actually knew it, because they were so early in finding out the vaccine. Even though that was definitely surprising, and we all were inspired by them, but the next immediate days, boom, it was a complete shock. It didn't work. Not big of a surprise, to be honest, because discovering that fast of a cure, and that too not even going through enough of the trials, and coming out openly making a bold statement saying this is one of the vaccines, this could definitely be a game changer, is definitely stupid in my opinion. And yeah, and
Yeah,
Russian vaccine is actually the only thing which is giving people hope right now, because none of the vaccines actually in the market right now, or currently in the development stage, are much more advanced than the Russian vaccine. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely the Russian vaccine is what is going to probably be the saving grace for us.
yeah. Now, speaking about the test taken for the COVID-19 symptoms, do you think is it efficient? Is the government has made more efficient tests in rural areas than in urban areas, which is less noticed and not looked after.
Yeah, definitely the amount of testing has substantially increased over the growth of this virus as well, because initially we were not able to cope up with the amount of increase in virus every day. We just didn't have the facility or the technology equipped with us to actually handle this enormous volumes of testing every single day. But I think
Yeah,
we've grown over these 5 to 6 months, and definitely we have upgraded our amount of trading testing centers, and we start to bring in more people. We start to test more people every single day. But this is just a story in urban area, I guess. In the rural areas, definitely the testing centers are basically non-existent, except for one or two just isolated centers, and that too the people also are not properly educated in these areas, so they definitely can't identify the symptoms even if
yeah,
they have
those
one.
people having symptoms, they think that it is a normal disease and can be cured with a medicine or two.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think they must volunteer themselves if they have such a symptom, because this is a very large pandemic around here happening. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I think the primary thing which the government has to do to control the thing, even control the spread even further, is that to educate the rural people or give them awareness on some of these symptoms, saying that if you get any of these symptoms, or if the one or
yeah,
two, or if it anything is severe, you have to go get tested immediately, because if they
yeah.
don't get tested, they keep spreading it. It is just like wildfire. It's just going to keep on spreading, and there is no end
Yeah,
to it.
which
It is
is
going to
very
go till.
dangerous. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. So the testing centers issue in case of rural areas need to be definitely updated by I think the in the urban areas the testing centers are definitely up to the mark, I feel, as of now.
yeah. We have spoken about the most of the negative effects of COVID-19
Yeah,
in our environment and our society. So, don't you think the COVID-19, despite all the negative effects, has created a very positive effect on the nature?
definitely. I would definitely say that nature has is the one thing which the COVID definitely has had a positive impact on, or at least definitely made a promising impact, I feel, because especially I have to talk about Delhi in this case, because the air quality or the ppm
Yeah,
and particulate matter in the air in case of Delhi about 8 to 10 months at the start of the year, I guess, was completely very bad. They were just
yeah,
increasingly higher levels of pollutants in the atmosphere. People were nearly went to the point where they decided to move out of Delhi, because they would get so many respiratory tract infections. So
yeah,
definitely in that case, Delhi was one very good example where if you actually reduce the amount of pollution, you would actually see different promising results. So in that case, COVID was definitely
yeah,
had a silver lining, I guess. Like all things have a silver lining in life. Yeah.
yeah. And Shriram, what do you think would happen in the near future? And how will this pandemic go and end? When will the vaccine be found? And when will all this critical situation come to an end?
Well, I think there isn't any clear indicator as of now to give you an exact date for end, or at least estimate it. But many of the experts are predicting that the end is nearly going to be, or like at least it is going to come to a complete halt at about 2022 or something, because it is just a strong strain of virus apparently, and getting it rid of it completely is definitely going to take 1 or 2 years, I guess. So I would say
Yeah,
the at least the intensity of this is definitely going to reduce at least by next mid year, around June, definitely, because as soon as the vaccine starts rolling out, definitely there's going to be the decrease in the number of cases every single day, and the vaccine is probably the only thing, or the date of the vaccine is going to come is going to be a complete determiner in telling whether the COVID is definitely going to coming to an end, or at least going to slow down, in my opinion.
yeah. Yeah, we spoke about a lot of things today, and I would like to thank you, Shriram, very much for explaining and in a very elaborate way. And yeah, thank
Yeah,
you
definitely.
again.
Thank you also, Krishna, because hosting is definitely a hard thing, and you are definitely an excellent host today.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and we would co-jointly like to thank all the social workers, especially the doctors and the policemen who have been fighting for this virus for about 6 months till now,
Yeah,
and they have been dedicating their time uh, to the society to take care of all the people around them. So, especially the doctors who are been seen as gods during this crisis. And yeah, I would like to specially thank them again for their service.
Yeah.
And yeah, now coming to the policemen, most of the government workers have had enough time to spend with their families, but in a case the policemen had no time to spend with their family. They
Yeah.
always came to work and fought against the virus, and they put their lives at stake, and they did their job very well. I would like to thank them once again.
Yeah, definitely. Same thing like Krishna already told, I like to say the same things. Undoubtedly, doctors have been like gods to us. They have just been so incredibly significant in helping control the number of cases every day, conducting the amount of tests, going through so much every single day, getting to the hospitals with so many people flooded, and also the nurses as well. Because I feel the nurses are
Yeah,
being very underrated and not being over appreciated, because they are actually the real heroes, to be honest, because they are the ones who bring the patients in, who have to handle most of the tasks, giving them medicines and etc etc. So I feel the nurses also definitely deserve compliments more than that. And
yeah,
and like
yeah,
Krishna already told the policeman, he told more about it. I would like to not tell anything more. Like we already knew policemen definitely were instrumental in controlling the traffic and initially forcing the people, or at least telling the people to start wearing masks or get in with the initial preparatory things. So in that way,
yeah.
policemen
They actually
have been
cared
adorable.
about us. Yeah,
Yeah, so definitely thank you guys. So this is one of our first podcast, and I don't know how this went. This was definitely a lot of mistakes in there, a lot of vocabulary errors. So yeah, this is the first time we are doing something like this. So definitely we would love some feedback, suggestion, criticism, all kinds of responses, because that is what is going to drive us to do or get better even and even more. So Krishna, any final words?
yeah. I would like to thank you all for listening this much. Yeah, we would like to accept any kind of feedback that which is the only thing which motivates us to do more podcasts like this. So yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. We hope that we would do better, even more in the next episode. Yeah, I would like to thank everyone for listening once again. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you.